Okay, I think I'm ready to get started now. Just to reiterate, guys, my name is Darlie again. I will be facilitating this teaching. And what I'm doing today is teach the teaching method. And the method that I've chosen is concept mapping. Before we get started, I just had a question for you guys. Has anyone ever used a concept map in a classroom before, either receiving or making it? Dylan and Jess? Jess, would you mind sharing what you've done before with this?
Sure. I use a concept map in class in biochem, actually, because there's a bunch of different reactions, and I needed to see what the big pictures were and also the little details and how everything related to each other.
Was that something you did yourself, or did the instructor ask you to do that, or your TA?
I did it for myself. In terms of TAing, I have seen people using concept map as sort of a flow chart to see what they need to do, when they need to do it, because there's certain things that you need to, say, put in an oven and then you can walk away from and do other things. So I've seen that done as a TA as well.
Okay. Dylan, what about your experience?
I've used flowchart style concept maps to describe different philosophical theories, help break things down, and you can see an entire overview of the theory at this one glance as well, which is helpful.
Yeah. Great. You might already know my lesson here. Thanks for sharing, guys. What I'm intending to do today and my learning objectives is by the end of the lesson, you should be able to explain what the concept map technique is and create a concept map in a lesson. And we will do that together, and don't worry about it. We'll get to it. To get started, I'm hoping you guys can shout out some answers, but I'm just wondering, can you think of any reasons why we might use concept maps in the classroom? And I'll jot them down if you guys shout them out.
You can use it for any size classroom.
Okay.
You can brainstorm like complicated issues or just, big picture items.
That's great, guys. Is there any other ideas any of you have had?
One nice thing about it is that it's an interactive teaching method, so you're going to promote a little bit more student engagement and get people really actively involved.
Thanks, Dylan.
It helps the students figure out what the big picture is.
Okay. I wasn't expecting so many people to have experience with this, but this is really helpful. Was there any other benefits you guys could think of? It's okay if you don't. We'll come back to this, okay? Okay. I know we've already kind of talked about it, and two of you seem to have used concept maps before, but I'd like to tell you what concept mapping is. And what it is it's a diagramming technique that shows relationships among various concepts. So it's a way, you guys already kind of hinted at this, it's a way we can organize and demonstrate knowledge where we connect different concepts with lines, and we use words, and we can call these words phrases or linking words. Really doesn't matter. The fact that the lines of words are there is the important part. The concepts themselves, when you do make a map, you can put them in a box or a circle, and when you connect things, you could call those concept nodes, and when you connect them, you can just use lines. I'd like to show you guys a sample concept map. Just get this computer going on here. So now that the computer is up and running, I'd like to show you guys an example of a concept map. So I know not all of us come with a physical sciences background, but I thought this would be a great example. So this is a concept map. It's not fully developed yet. It's still got pieces that can be added to it, but I will point out things that I just explained. So we have a major question here for our concept map that identifies its topic, and it's called, the question here is, what is the structure of the universe? That's what we call our focus question. And then I mentioned that concept map shows relationships. So some of these arrows are showing us how these terms are related. These are the major concepts. So we're starting off broadly, the universe. That's what we want to know what the structure is. Part of the universe is matter and energy. What's important to note is some of these relationships don't have to be in one direction. We have a bidirectional arrow here showing that matter and energy are also related, but they're also related to the universe. We also have here a bunch of terms that still haven't been put on here, but that we can keep developing this. So for example, energy comes in different forms, and then we might break this into different forms of energy. Heat energy, light energy, chemical energy, electrical energy. Yeah, so this is an example of a concept map that's just been started. It probably has a lot more space it can go to. I won't speak from a physical scientist perspective. They might have something different to say. Now that we've seen an example, what I would like to do is work on a concept map together. Now, I struggled a little bit with what topic might work with such a diverse group, but I think we can all say we're here for the fundamentals program. So I thought the best concept map we might do is on the fundamentals program. So if you guys don't mind standing up and joining me, Chris, will you be joining us or will you be writing your notes?
I can participate.
Okay. So what I'd like to do is work on this question. So the focus question I've determined is, what is the structure of the fundamentals program? If you guys don't mind grabbing a pen, a marker, and we can work on this together. Do you guys have any questions before we get started?
So do we just dive in right now?
Yeah, I'm here too. I can help out as well. So just to help us keep focused on what our concept map is showing is we want to know what the structure is of the fundamentals program. Now, I have started it off briefly just for the sake of time. But if we don't like something and we don't think it reflects the fundamentals, we can erase it. That's what that is there for. But I thought if someone wants to plop things up there, I thought one of the main parts was it provides a certificate. And then I thought that might require completion of a few things. Does anyone have an idea of what that might look like?
We have to do 3 micro-teaching sessions.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Kristen, do you mind writing that up, that we need to complete 3 of them? Thanks. What about some of the other things we do before the micro-teaching session? Some of those lessons, what are they called? The workshops. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to complete 6 workshops, and one of those is the ELP, or Effective Lesson Planning workshop, which you have to do before the micro-teaching sessions.
Okay. Dylan, would you mind putting that up there? But I'm just wondering, Dylan mentioned that the effective lesson plans is a mandatory one. So maybe I wonder if that's a separate piece that feeds into the micro-teaching session, because you have to do that to get started on the micro-teaching sessions. Yeah. I'll just write ELP, which is the acronym that Dylan used, and feed that into here. What about what it supports? Who does this program support?
The program's for graduate students.
Okay.
Do I write it in the box?
Sure, you can erase the box if it's not right. And that's a great point. It supports graduate students, but what does it support in graduate students that we can keep moving this forward?
Teaching skills?
Yeah. Feel free to build that graduate student piece down to teaching skills.
I guess also presentation skills?
Great, that's great. Pop that up there. Okay, guys, this is looking really great. I know we haven't had a chance to fully develop this slide, but for the sake of time, I will ask us to sit back down and I can wrap up. What I do want to head back to is some of the benefits of concept mapping. You guys provided a bunch earlier on in the lesson. I will list some more. So as you guys said, it's a way to develop logical thinking and study skills with complicated topics. It can actually help people generate new ideas and brainstorm when they see things mapped out like this. Oh, but this might lead to something else. I think it also is a very active strategy in that it makes you think about what you're learning and not just writing it down to develop some of those critical thinking skills. And it actually makes you organize and relate your information to each other. Is this a bidirectional relationship? Is this a one-way? Is this go back as a feedback loop, for example? And it can also encourage a top-down approach. You start from a very general concept. If you remember, I talked about the universe, and then you get down into the specific details. And there's different ways you can do it. The way we did it here today was we did it, we had sort of a little bit of a structure that I put up for the sake of time, and then we built from that. But another way you can do it is a free association approach. So what I could do is I could ask you guys what the structure is, the fundamentals program, and we could put all the words we can think of up. And then we can organize those words. Kind of like that universe one where there was a bunch of terms on the left. Put those terms up first and then develop it. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our lesson, guys. I just want to recap what a concept map is. And what it is it shows relationships between concepts. It's in the name itself, right? So we had 2 learning objectives, which was to explain what the concept map technique is, which we've achieved. We also created a concept map, albeit partially, but we can develop that further in another lesson. I also just wanted to wrap up with a concept map doesn't have to be boring. It doesn't have to be black and white. It doesn't have to be whatever. You can put pictures in it. So I guess, for example, with Jess, you're of a scientific background. You could do the carbon dioxide cycle and show different pieces of the atmosphere, different elements. I'm just going to show you guys a quick example. I'm in health, so I very much like this one. It's very colorful, and it branches off with the major areas of health: exercise, stress, sleep, diet. And if you need help, help. I'm going to show one more. And just to show that a concept map can be really used at any age, which is what's interesting. You can use it when you're young and in kindergarten, grade 1. You can use it all the way up to your PhD level to show concept complex. So this one's complex concepts. So this one looks very simple. It's ecology, and it looks like something a kid would do at school to show major topics. I will show one more. It's very complex. I won't teach this, but it's an immunology one, showing a lot, the vast majority of cells we have when it comes to our immune system. And it uses pictures to show these different types of cells, what they might look like, how they might relate. So don't worry too much about the content of these concept maps. It's just to show you some different examples. So that concludes the end of our lesson. I do have a handout for you guys that talks about the things I taught today and that you guys participated in. So feel free to look at it. You will notice that on the front I've included something about techniques to using concepts math in the classroom. And I'm hoping that will help you guys if you choose to use this. I'll pass that on to you. Thanks, everyone.